Hello everybody and welcome back to Dollar Tree Dinners. My name is Rebecca and as many of you guys know, making holiday menus or holiday items using items from Dollar Tree is one of my all-time favorite things. Halloween's about 2 weeks away, so I thought we would kick this off by doing some Halloween sweet treats or Halloween themed desserts, and I have a lot of really fun ones to share. Usually what I'll do is I'll go online and I'll search for Halloween party foods and I'll just scroll through Google Images until I find one that I know I can make using only things from Dollar Tree. And so here is what I have to share with you guys today. And I think this year I picked out a lot of really fun ones and I am super excited to share. But I hope this goes to show that creating a little bit of holiday magic doesn't have to cost a fortune. Before we jump in, let me know in the comments down below, what is your go-to Halloween dinner? Last year I did like a spider mac and cheese dish because my Dollar Tree didn't have a working fridge at the time. So I made a full $20 Halloween dinner using only non-refrigerated items from Dollar Tree. And it's gonna be really hard for me to top that one this year, but I will do my best because I really enjoyed that one. I thought it was really creative and I really enjoyed how the meal turned out. So as you can see, I made a bunch of desserts today. They are all super fun, super easy. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. So we are kicking this one off with these cookies that are inspired by Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is one of my all-time favorite movies, and I am super happy with how these cookies turned out. To make this one, you're going to need a box of vanilla cake mix. We will of course need the oil and the eggs to prepare the cake mix, but we're making cookies out of this cake mix, so we're going to ignore the instructions on the back. You will also need a set of food coloring, and I'm using this black gel icing that I got from Dollar Tree. I will be using this in a lot of these recipes today, but feel free to substitute this for just melted chocolate. This is a 15-ounce box of cake mix, and that does matter. Try to get one that's as close to 15 ounces as possible, but we're going to mix that with a half cup of oil and 2 eggs to make cookies out of it. If your cake mix is smaller than 15 ounces, like say it's 13 ounces, you're going to reduce the oil by about a tablespoon. Then mix this together until you have a cohesive dough, and then we're going to divide this evenly into 3 bowls to make our 3 colors to match Sally's dress. In one of the bowls, I added 15 drops of red. In the other bowl, I added 15 drops of yellow. And in the third bowl, I added 5 drops of blue, 1 drop of green, and 2 drops of yellow to make teal. I mixed these colors into the dough with a fork at first, but then I switched to using my hands. If you don't mind getting your hands dirty, it is quite possibly the best tool for the job just to fully incorporate these colors. This is the result of my yellow dough, this is the result of my teal dough, and this is the result of my pink dough. Now you're going to take a scoop of each of the 3 colors and roll them into 1 cookie. Place these cookies on a parchment-lined baking sheet, and I like to place them in a way that all 3 colors are well represented. And I made my cookies a bit on the larger side, so I was able to get 8 cookies total. Again, mine were large cookies, so I baked them at 350 degrees for about 15 minutes. If your cookies are smaller, you might need to adjust this baking time. Then once these cookies have cooled completely, we're going to use the black gel icing to add a line to separate the 3 colors, and we can also use this to add some stitches. I did a couple of short line stitches and some X stitches, and I just repeated this until all of the cookies were decorated. I think that these cookies are a really creative and super fun idea, especially if you need to bring something to a Halloween party this year. And for our second dessert, we're making a fairly common one that's really well known. These are dirt worm cups. For this one, you will need a box of chocolate pudding mix. I got this Milky Way mix at Dollar Tree. For the dirt layer, I'm using these pre-baked chocolate brownies. These come with 8 individually wrapped brownies. And then lastly, some gummy worms, and this is totally optional, but Dollar Tree does sell these 10 packs of tumblers, which you can use to make these single-serve desserts. They come in a pack of 10, but this dessert makes 4. The first thing I did was I unwrapped and crumbled all of my pre-cooked brownies. The reason I use brownies is because I think it looks a little bit more like potting soil than the traditional way, which is with crushed up Oreos or cookies. I just really love the effect that brownies give this dessert. Next, you're going to go ahead and prepare your pudding mix according to the box instructions, which is the packet of pudding mix with 2 cups of cold milk. Whisk this for 2 minutes and then set it in the fridge until it is set. Add a layer of pudding into the bottom of each of your tumblers, follow with some of your crushed up brownies, another layer of pudding, and finish it off with the remainder of the crushed brownies. Then of course, for the final effect, we're going to add some gummy worms on top. If you are not a fan of gummy worms, you can always swap these out for pumpkins and turn these dirt worm cups into pumpkin patch cups. I think these are a really fun potential Halloween tradition that you can make really easily. and you can always double or triple this recipe if you need to bring it to a party. For dessert number 3, we have these super cute candy corn pretzel bites. For these, you're going to need a bag of these square Snaps pretzels. You're also going to need Hershey's Kisses. Typically, this would be milk chocolate and Hugs, but I couldn't get Hugs at Dollar Tree, so I'm going to use milk chocolate and cookies and cream. And lastly, some candy corn. If you really don't like candy corn, you can swap this for Reese's Pieces, but I really recommend candy corn for that Halloween effect. This one is so cute and so easy. You're just going to take a baking sheet and line it with a sheet of parchment paper. This is optional, but it's just in case. Then you're going to add your pretzels down on your baking sheet and top each one with one of your Hershey's Kisses. Each of these bags of Kisses came with 15, so this makes 30 total. Again, feel free to double or triple this depending on how many you need. These are going to go in a 250-degree oven for about 4 to 5 minutes until the chocolate starts to melt. My oven was still quite hot from baking the cookies, so my chocolate ended up drying out a little bit, but as soon as they come out of the oven, you're going to work quickly and you're going to press a candy corn down on the center of each kiss. Again, mine were a little too hot, so mine don't look quite as perfect, but they still tasted amazing and they still look cute. Set these in the fridge for 10 to 15 minutes until the chocolate has hardened up, and then these are ready to serve, and this would be a perfect one to do with kids as well. Now we are on to dessert number 4, which are these spider cookies, and this one took a little bit of trial and error on my part. For this one, you're going to need a pack of cookie mix. I'm using chocolate chip, but you can use any flavor. I am also using some Whoppers and some peanut butter cups because these two combined will kind of make the head and the body of the spider. And lastly, I'm using the black gel icing for some of the details, but you can also swap this for melted chocolate. You're going to prepare the cookie mix according to the package instructions. Mine calls for half a stick of butter or margarine and 1 tablespoon of water. I made 4 large cookies, but mine ended up being just a tad bit too large, so for this size cookie mix, I would make 6 cookies instead. And because my cookies were larger, I baked them at 350 for 15 minutes, but again, feel free to adjust this if you make smaller cookies. As soon as they come out of the oven while they're still hot, you're going to add the peanut butter cup to each one to make the spider's body, along with the Whopper directly butted up against the peanut butter cup to make the spider's head. And this is why I said my cookies ended up being a bit too large, because as you can see, they are much bigger than the spider itself. Once your cookies have cooled completely, you're going to use the black gel icing to add the legs and the spider eyes. The best way I found to add the legs is to think of them just in like little L shapes and do 2 L's pointing up and then 2 L's pointing down. Think of it like the Spider-Man logo. And again, these are not perfect and they don't have to be. They still look cute and they still look like spiders. I wish my cookies were just a little bit smaller though. For dessert number 5, we are making these Spellbook brownies. To make these ones, I am using an 18-ounce box of brownie mix. If your brownie mix is smaller, you might have to use 2. I'm also using these large candy eyeballs and again the black gel icing, or feel free to use melted chocolate. You're going to prepare the brownie mix according to the package instructions with the water, oil, and eggs, but instead of baking it in a square dish, we're going to grease a 9x13 baking dish and we're going to prepare the brownie dishes and bake them according to the 9x13 instructions. This way we have thinner brownies that we can cut into rectangular pieces as opposed to thick square brownies. 2 tips for cutting really clean edges on your brownies are to let them cool completely and use a very sharp knife. I am also going ahead and cutting off the rounded edges, that way all of the brownies have a nice sharp edge to look like a book. I cut the brownies into rectangles that are about 2 inches by 3 inches. Add some black gel icing to the top right corner of each brownie and press a candy eye on each one. On the left side of the brownie, you're going to do a line of icing going from the top to the bottom. Then you're going to do some perpendicular stitches. This is going to look like the binding of the book. And then I thought this was looking a little plain, so I also went ahead and added a black ring around each eye to kind of look like an eyelid. And this is another one that I think is really unique and fun to potentially bring to a potluck or a Halloween party. And then just as a bonus, I think that this would be really fun to make a sweet and salty snack mix for a family Halloween movie night. For this one, I'm using a box of caramel crunch and munch, or they have buttered toffee, up to you, some salted dry roasted peanuts, also the rest of the bag of pretzels from earlier. This is a great way to use up little odds and ends. You can use candy corn or autumn mix and also Reese's Pieces. This idea was inspired by these cute bins that Dollar Tree had. These are paper bins and it came in a 2-pack, and I thought they would make a really fun Halloween movie night. The hardest part of making this is just picking out what movie to watch. So let me know in the comments down below, what is your favorite Halloween movie? These Nightmare Before Christmas cookies are probably one of my favorite desserts that I've ever made on this channel. They turned out exactly as I envisioned them, which is difficult sometimes to get something to turn out exactly like you want it to. But these are perfect. All of the colors match up to her dress perfectly. So I would definitely make these to bring to a Halloween party. I think that people are gonna be super impressed by them. The second thing I made were these dirt cups, and these are really traditional, especially with kids around Halloween time. I think these are great. I love these Albanese gummy worms. They're probably my favorite like gummy candy. Albanese makes the best gummy candy, and the fruity flavors go really well with chocolate. Think in terms of like orange and chocolate or strawberry and chocolate. So I know it seems like a bit of a strange combination, but when you really boil it down, fruit and chocolate go so well together. Now, as I mentioned, these little candy corn pretzel things did not turn out quite as pretty as I had hoped. I had the oven turned up a little bit too high. But it's okay. I like to show that not everything has to be perfect and not everything has to be Pinterest worthy. These taste amazing though. You actually can't taste the candy corn. Mostly what you taste is the pretzel and the chocolate. So if you're not a fan of candy corn, you might want to go and try these because the flavor of the candy corn is not really that prominent. These spider cookies took a little bit of trial and error, and I did make them just a smidge too big. So next time I would make 6 of them instead of 4. But it took me a little while to get the legs the way that I wanted them to look, and then I remembered the Spider-Man logo, and that was kind of what got me to think in like the L shapes and like 2 pointing up and 2 pointing down. And I love how combining the Whopper with the peanut butter cup really gets you that like spider body effect, but the little body with a little head and the big body. And then lastly, these Spellbook brownies turned out so cute. And I think it looks really impressive, but also really unique at the same time. I had so much fun with this episode. I had so much fun coming up with these ideas. Again, let me know what your Halloween dinner is in the comments down below, or if you have any other Halloween dessert ideas that you might want to share with everyone. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I will see you again soon.